What's up, everybody? What's happening? This is Straight Facts, No Chaser podcast. I am Mr. Straight Facts. It's been a minute, after the election, I had to take some breaks and kind of think a lot of things through because y'all know where I stood on that. I was all for Kamala Harris, but we're not going to talk on that today. We're going to talk about this Andrew Schulz thing that's been going down. And I haven't spoke on this because, I was dealing with politics and everything. This actually happened, or at least started, about a couple months ago. And we're going to discuss, me, I deal with a lot of the history and I'm like this person that believes if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. And so a lot of people that I've heard speak on this have not incorporated the history in it. I think they've really kind of like let this dude kind of skate, and some black people have and some black people haven't. But I don't think they came toward it or against it in a way of like historical backgrounds of it. You feel me? So we're going to have this conversation about it right now. And we're going to start with what actually was said so that we can go from there. That's the only video I'm going to show that. Other ones, I'm just going to talk about the responses because I'm not trying to put Andrew Schulz on every video that I have. But we're going to be able to start the conversation off by what we saw a couple months ago. He brought a couple brothers from over the pond into his show. From like Shits and Giggles or whatever it is. And they said something. What they said, we're going to talk about it, was a lot different than what he said. And there was backlash from it. And I'm going to give my, my 2 cents on it, my opinion on it. So we're going to get into this real quick. Give me a second. We'll put the video up and we're going to play it. And then we're going to come back on it. Okay. All right, let's do this.
I'm here for it, bro.
I'm here for the multicultural.
Really?
Yeah,
Black
man.
girlfriend effect.
Yeah. You're into that.
Yeah,
And Meghan
she
Markle's
came
fine
in.
as
What's the
fuck,
black
so.
girlfriend if they just come in and start fighting?
Nah, bro. You guys don't know about the black girlfriend effect. She just...
Wait,
she
what is the black girlfriend effect? This is
Oh,
the
you
thing?
don't know
You just
about this?
glow up the other culture.
Yeah, so you'll see a guy who's had a black girlfriend, all of a sudden he's got buzz cut, like clean shape up.
Nah,
his feet out.
Yeah.
Glows up, bro.
Yeah,
I like that.
Glows
I
the
like
fuck
that.
up.
They shave their hair because they start losing it. Because they're so stressed being around this black girl complaining about shit all the fucking time. That's why they gotta shave their
Nah,
hair.
bro. White guys with black girlfriends,
They grow a
step,
beard
they step
because
their dick
there's
up.
more cushion when they get slapped the fuck out of. That's hilarious.
Okay. He thought that was funny, right? And I get how some people are trying to play it off like it's just a little jokey joke. And reality is it's not. Because there is no precedent that Andrew Schulz ever dated a black woman or had these actual stereotypes be true in his life. None whatsoever. He's going off of a stereotype of black women. And what kills me about this stereotype is that it's completely made up. There's really no like real time in history that this was true. I want to give you a better understanding. Black women are the most abused people, not the abuser, the ones who've been mostly abused. And so to have a white man, Jewish man, to literally have this perspective on black women when he has no real attachment to this stereotype other than the fact that he wanted to use it for a cheap joke. I thought he was like an experienced comedian, but he's using it as a cheap joke. You see what I mean? So what he said is that black women are basically abusive. Now, a lot of people are upset at the time at these brothers from Shits and Giggles, over the pond. They're doing their U.S. tour. And they go on to a show, the Flagrant show, and these people are highly disrespectful to black women. Now, if you listened to the brothers from over the pond, they literally gave black women the utmost respect. They literally said black women force men just their own essence, not like they literally did something to force it, but just by being themselves, they forced them to be better men. black women force men, no matter what the race, but in this situation, he's talking about white men, to step their game up. They brought up the boyfriend of one of the artists out there. I forget her name at the top of my head right now, but Travis, I think Kelsey, and that guy. They brought him up, the football player, and said that basically when he was with a black woman, he was shaving, he looked great and all that. And then, you know, when he got with the billionaire white woman, you know, his beard's all raggedy, he kind of looks okay, but let's put it this way. With a black woman, you know he took 2 baths at least a day. When he got up and he went to bed. With a white woman, you know he probably didn't take a bath like, once a week. So again, you see the differences in reality. And I'm not just making this stuff up. You don't see podcasts of white people talking about, what, you take a bath more than once a day? You mean you wash your legs? Yes. Some of the things they say puts them in like the most like dirtiest like ideology of like, man, you guys don't really clean, huh? And just in that simplicity of just not even taking care of yourself the same way. That's what they're basically saying. Not even anything in depth. You just don't take care of yourself different. When you're with a black woman, you're going to take care of yourself differently. And she's going to take care of you differently. It ain't about money. Your outfit could cost $25 for a woman. She's going to come and make that thing look great. And when she's walking on your arm, it's going to be beautiful. And now we're not talking about all black women and all white men. It's just going to be that way on average, right? And to say at the same time in the same interview, they said something to the effect of, you guys dated black women and white women? And they're like, yeah, which one's better? Why are we going there? Why would we go, which one's better? Does that matter? They were fishing to say that white women were going to be better. Again, for the stereotype to say that black women are not up to par. That compared to these two, the white woman was going to win. The other brother on there is like, oh, this didn't say anything. It's white women. No, they were in shock that you guys literally put them in a corner and told them to pick between black and white women after they have given black women the ultimate respect by saying, when you get with a black woman, you step your game up. It's just a given. Look at the way he cut his hair. He looked clean. And when he heard with the other artist, and I don't know why I can't remember her name, but at the top of my head, but the other artist, he's like with the white woman, he's not taking care of himself. I mean, it's not like he's ugly or anything like that. It's not like he's walking around homeless. He's just walking around looking like he cut down trees, as opposed to a man who takes care of himself and looks clean and well put together. You can see, and nobody's saying that the black woman is forcing this. It's just that the black woman, like, actually, if you're with her, you want to do this for her. It ain't like she's sitting there telling you, you got to put this on. No, when you see a person, usually a black woman, respecting herself, taking care of herself, if you with her, you feel like you got to do that too. Because it's like, yo, she's putting all that effort in. I need to step up. It's just that simple. And if it wasn't that way, why do you think there's so many white women trying to be black women? Why do you think that if a white woman's got a black man in her arm, she pretty much acts like a black woman? Why do you think that is? And to give black women this perspective, like somehow they're just negative. I'm like, where did that even come from? His wife is white. Where does it come from that you felt like you can just disrespect a black woman? Just simple as that. Like you got some kind of perspective on it. Right? And so instead of just letting it go and just say, you know what, my bad. I was playing around, joking. I took it a little too far. No, he's never apologized from what I've seen. The black men apologized. They came out and said, we are supposed to protect our black women. So we're sorry. We didn't mean to do it. Perfect. Under the water. Everything is good. But next time, be prepared. They even said it. Next time something like that happens, we get thrown something like that, we prepare to protect our women. That's all we ask. And that's all that Kendrick Lamar said. So now that's kind of like summate what we just saw. We got Andrew Schulz and his little sidekick. I don't know what race this dude is to the left of him, camera right. Then the black dude on the far right, his little black Ed McMahon, he's over here chiming in. But at first he was down with the brothers saying, you know, I appreciate that black women make you step your game up just in their essence, right? That's it. That's all it takes. And then after that, the jokes came out, the racist jokes came out. Then the brother on the far left, again, the black Ed McMahon, just stood up and said, you know, basically, oh, I guess it's the white women that are better because they're not saying anything. Whatever, black man. Things aren't always jokes. These were not jokes. They were snide remarks off of racist ideologies toward black women. And what Kendrick Lamar said, exact words, don't let no white comedian talk about no black woman. That's law. What's wrong with that? He didn't bring up Schulz's name. He brought up white man. Don't let no white man. That's any white man that's a comedian. Could have been Gary Owen. Could have been Matt Rife. It could have been a bunch of white men out there that talk about black women. Could have been Bill Burr. But you notice I didn't hear anything about Bill Burr say anything. Right? Didn't hear him say a word. But a hit dog will holler. And the comedians who are white that talk a lot of trash about black women, they got hit. And they said something. And the biggest one that got hit was Andrew Schulz. So he got upset and pissed off about it. So he felt like he had to defend himself. And I'm like, who told you it was you? Fans and so forth? That's because they feel you probably was the most egregious in that situation. But that was a fan's choice. That wasn't anybody else's choice but the fan hearing that line and automatically in their head, who has been more egregious toward black women lately or in my life? And they thought of Andrew Schulz. And once they did and started hitting him up, like, he talking about you, he starts snapping back. Now, Andrew Schulz could have got this and did the respectful thing. Like, oh, you know, I was kidding around. It was just a joke. And they said they apologized. You know, I'm good. I apologize too. It was just a flipping thing. It should never happen again. I'm good. Because again, it wasn't a joke. It wasn't a joke. It was literally him going off of racial stereotypes and comfortable around black people enough to say it. That's all it was. If it was a joke, it would be a punchline to set up. There's nothing there. It was just literally, let me just talk shit about black women real quick and see how a black man responds. And these men were shocked, didn't say a freaking word, but said it later. And then when a black man comes out to protect black women in general, Kendrick Lamar just said, don't let no white comedian talk about no black woman. That's law. What did Andrew Schulz do? His immediate response was to call a black man like Kendrick Lamar, who's lyrically gifted, ignorant, by saying, wait a minute, if you listen to the terms and you apply it to white people's English, he literally said, don't let no white comedian talk about no black woman. That's law. So he tried to make it seem like it was a double negative, so therefore it's a positive. Hardy, ha, ha, ha. It wasn't. Because even in that ignorant ideology, it literally doesn't work. Kendrick Lamar still beats him at that. Because if you listen to the words, and if you know, like, you apply like math to English, you'll realize it says, don't let no. So he's saying a don't is a negative. Then another no would make it a positive. A double negative is a positive. But then he says no again. So a double negative is a positive times a negative makes it a negative, which means don't do it. So lyrically, he's beyond gifted than Andrew actually is. Andrew tried to make it something simplistic and say, hey, he's saying that I really can't say it. So you just tried to call a lyrically gifted man that outwitted you that he's the dumb one when it turns out the white dude's the dumb one. Even in his defense, he's wrong. So disrespect a black woman multiple times in front of black men. When a black man comes to protect her, you literally tell him that he's stupid, that he's just not smart. lyrically gifted, highly intelligent dude that's black. Somehow your dumb ass is smarter than him. Even when you try to use that, the math ain't mathing. So that didn't work for you. So then what does he do? He comes out and says that the black man, if I had him in prison or in jail, I would rape him. I was like, when I saw that video, I was like, what the fuck is this? What was he doing? Why would he go there? He literally said something about raping Kendrick Lamar in a jail cell. And I'm like, where are you going with this? Just let this shit go. Why would you go to raping a black man in a prison, a cell of some sort? Where did this come from? He thought this was funny. His Ed McMahon sidekick kind of laughed too. I'm sitting there like, am I in the upside down world? I'm like, wait a minute. Do you understand what you just did? Again, I apply history to what I talk about. History to what I talk about. Okay? What did he just do that applied to history? So this is the problem with America. A lot of people are too fucking stupid to know what history is about and how it applies to today. What he just did was an act of buck breaking. And for those of you who don't know what buck breaking means, buck breaking is what happened to enslaved men when they acted like they wanted to protect their people. Let me give you a vivid example of buck breaking. And I can't believe that Andrew Schulz, a white man or Jewish man, doesn't know the history of what he just did before he actually did it. Because why else would you go to raping a black man? Because that's a way to be able to disrespect him to the fullest, even though he never called out your name. And even though he never pointed out that it was you at all that had anything to do with this. It could have been Gary Owen, could have been Bill Burr, could have been anybody, Matt Rife, right? But no, he wanted to take it upon himself with his narcissistic ass to make it seem like it was about him. Haven't had that just yet. Haven't heard anybody say it's about him. So let's give you the buck breaking history, okay? So back in the day, enslaved men, right? Most people don't realize that black men and women were bred like animals. Black men, the strong black man, was bred with the sturdy black woman, right? The black woman had breeding houses, yes, in which random ass black men that were bucks would have to go in there, bust, and have babies with these people so that they can create a more like a commercial process. Keep on making these babies and selling them. You know, it's like making your own gold. So when a black person had a family, wife, kids, say it's for a mom, dad, 2 children, let's say they're teens, okay? So when they did that and the slave owner came into the quarters and decided today he's going to rape old boy's daughter. So when he walks into that room and starts doing the deed and the dad sleeps, the dad wakes up to protect his family, tries to push the man off his daughter. The man's like, oh, so you're feeling froggy today. So they take him outside, tie him up to something, open up and call everybody in the middle of the night to come out and see what they about to do to this black man for protecting his daughter from being raped by this white man. And tell him, sit right there, we're going to be back. Everybody gets to watch, including the daughter and the mother. Tied down, pull his pants down, proceed to rape him in front of his kids. And once he is demoralized, you tell the entire group, when I come for your daughters or your sons, even your husbands, you're not protected, and lay your ass down and let me proceed to do what I got to do. Anybody got a problem? Didn't think so. Go back to your quarters and leave his ass out there so that when you wake up in the morning, you got to notice this is what's going to happen to you when you protect your own. That's buck breaking. And what Andrew Schulz did was buck breaking. He literally disrespected black women. And once a black man came to their aid, he literally said, I will rape you. So basically, black women, you ain't got nobody to support you. Because even when that black man came to support her, he tried to say he was going to break him. Then you got black men literally out here, like Charlemagne the God, coming onto a podcast after that and not holding his boy to account for what he just did. It appeared that even Charlemagne didn't even know what just happened. He hadn't done his homework. He's on a podcast with a man that just literally said he broke a black man in front of him, talking about he's going to rape him because he came to the aid of a black woman or black women in general. And the message is really for black men. It's saying black men, don't let no white man talk. Step up and say something. Don't be sitting there like no little simp. It's about black men if you really read it for what it is. But you got this racist ass Andrew Schulz literally making it about him when it's literally about black men stepping up. And he won't let it go. He still thinks about him. And Charlemagne the God hadn't done his homework. Sitting here on the podcast I saw this morning, I don't know when it was shot, saying, you should be able to tell jokes, and I shut up. Fuck you talking about you should be able to tell jokes. That wasn't a joke. It was literally him saying racist tropes and hiding behind it and calling it a joke. Where was the punchline of the setup? They literally gave a black woman the utmost respect. Being with a black woman, you got to step your game up because they make you better. A black woman will make you a better man. That's all they said. They gave them mad respect. And within a nanosecond of them giving black women that utmost respect, this asshole says, nope. He wouldn't let a compliment about a black woman live longer than a fucking nanosecond. Highest compliment. Nanosecond later, nope. Let me give off these racist tropes in the means of a joke. You could have let that statement fly. Give black women some credit. Nope, can't do that. I got to step up for my whiteness and say, hey, they like to beat you up and do this stuff and talk back to you and all. I'm like, what? Nobody protected black women there. Now, let me take you to another part of history that you may not know. But we're gonna try and figure out what's going on with people that they think that this racist trope about black women should be able to live, and then ask black men to compare being with a white woman over a black woman and don't have any racist stereotypes about the white woman. Kind of crazy, huh? That's what lets you know it's racist. Because ask Andrew Schulz, which is the most abusive in history? Black women or white women? I'll give you a little history lesson. It's white women. White women are the second to the most abusive when you talk about in history. The enslavement of black people in this country. White men did the most horrific shit. But the enslaver's wife was just as horrific. I would say sometimes more. Why do I say that? You may not know the history of white racist women back in the day, but white racist women back in the day in slavery used to unalive the black children that the slave owner had. See, the slave owner would go out into these cabins and have his thing, do his will with the black women. And those spawn that was mixed, that were more light-skinned, got to be inside the house, closer to him. Because if it was a girl, it was quick to be able, I don't have to go outside and just go, rape her real quick. And maybe even the boy too. But the reality is that, okay, they can stay in the house closer to me because they're more like me. Well, the white woman had to take care of these kids. He had to feed them and treat them somewhat nice. Say what? I believe black people are animals. Why the hell am I have an animal in my house treating it like it's human? So what did they do? They used to take frying pans, those metal big ass cast iron pans, and beat these little children to death. Yeah. So much so, in 1669, they had to create a law specifically for racist ass white women so that they wouldn't get charged for murder for these children that they were killing at will. It had to happen a lot for them to think that a law had to be made in 1669. Don't believe me? You know I bring receipts. I'm Mr. Straight Facts. Let's get this real quick. If I can find this thing, well, let's see where we got it. There it is. In 1669, the Virginia Colonial Assembly passed a law that removed criminal penalties for enslavers who killed enslaved people who resisted authority. That's what they called these women killing these children so that they could protect them, the women that is, by saying if she just said, come here real quick, and they didn't do it or they came too slow, she could murder them and get away with it, which she did often. So much that a law was needed to protect her, not the babies. They didn't ask to come into this world. They didn't ask that their dad, who's a slave owner, raped their mom. They didn't ask for it, but yet they received that. Could you imagine a little kid running around playing and she like, stop that noise. Okay. Then that kid proceeds to get bashed in the head with a metal pot and pan until they're deceased. And this white woman just drags that baby out into the trash and she doesn't get charged for it and does this on a regular basis, that they got to create a law that says that she can't be charged for being an evil bitch. The law stated that killing an enslaved person could not be considered murder because the enslaved person was the enslaver's property and therefore could not be considered an object of premeditated malice, even though she picked up that pan, even though she knew she was going to do it, even though she brought the kid in just so that that kid could do whatever she thought was wrong and bash him. On purpose, it could not be premature malice. The law also stated that it was lawful to kill or wound a runaway slave if they resisted while being pursued by a warrant. That was in addition to cover up what this law was really for, and that was so that white women could kill black babies. That's what the reason why this happened. That's the true history in this country. That's why they don't want you knowing history. The evil that white people did. Are all white people like this? No. But are white people trying to hide this? Yes. And if you are one of them, you may not be racist as them, but you're allowing this racism to live. Andrew Schulz, I believe, knows this. And that was an act of buck breaking for him. See, he felt cornered, so he had to do exactly what a racist person would have done back in the day. Break that person. And how? Some kind of racist, rapist type of mentality. Who goes to thinking about raping somebody as a joke? Since when is rape a joke? I have never heard. I've had friends, I've had family members who got raped. Rape is never funny. No matter how you say it, it's never, ever funny. It is a horrific thing for anyone to be raped. And this man said it like it was a joke and went on about his life like that's okay. And he's still playing off of it. So let's summate. He makes fun of black women after they got a huge compliment, which they more than well deserve. That compliment could not live in the atmosphere for a nanosecond before this racist Andrew Schulz cut it down and brought up all these racist tropes about black women, which aren't true. Those tropes are more toward white women. Did I not just prove to you that the most egregious culture in this country has been white? And the most talk back and it's the most harming and killing has been white women. Is there anything in history that shows that black people or black women ever did that to white children? No. In fact, the truth of history about white children and black women were the nannies to these white people. Black women would feed white children their breast milk while their kid had none. Yeah, go back and look at history. Black women have sacrificed not only for black people, but for white people in this history, in this country. And for this racist asshole to literally play on a trope and push himself up as if he's better. And I guarantee you, because he's Jewish, he's going to try and lay on that Jewish ideology. Oh, you're being anti-Semitic. Fuck you. I ain't being anti-Semitic. You were being racist. 100% racist. And Charlemagne, you should be damn ashamed of yourself. I don't care. I got white friends. I got Jewish friends. Let them talk like that in front of me about a black woman. And they'll get this smoke. I got white people in my family. They'll get this smoke. Talk about a black woman like that. Now, I don't mind you talking about black women on some serious tip shit. Like Gary Owen was married to a black woman. He knows some of the things that she does. When he talks about going to a black church, laughing. Why? Because it's true, most of that shit. Even if it's stereotypical, a lot of churches are like that. Being in the church 17 hours, 3 days, whatever the hell it may be, passing the plate around 758 times, that is true. Exaggerated, but they do pass it around a lot. I get that. But bringing up racist tropes and then try to hide behind them as a joke is bullshit. It's straight bullshit. So this man literally comes out, says something racist, then gets his black friends to kind of back him up. I don't know what the show, Jasmine Show, or whatever that is. I don't watch a lot of these podcasts because a lot of it's just to me a bunch of bullshit. It's just them just sitting there trying to bring out the most drama in the world and then sit there and make fun of it and shit. I'm like, yo, look, for me that's not my thing. Y'all can do that, but for this right here, I'm going to defend. Black women deserve respect. They've been shat on by everybody. And you know what's so trip? Any black man talking about how a black woman is, I'm going to put it this way, because I'm a black man and I grew up in a black family and I know a lot of black people. The most egregious people in our party, in our family of black people, have been black men toward black women. I don't see any videos of a black woman hauling off and knocking a black man out. But I do see a lot of entertainers and sports people who have knocked the hell out of their women, beat them. I don't see that on the other side. So they get abused by their own men often. And then the other people decide to label the woman abusive when she's a receiver of most of the abuse. And here she's a receiver of abuse not only by those black men that didn't say anything, but then said, okay, I'm sorry, recanted. The other black dude hasn't, that was on that stage, the black Ed McMahon for their show, right? The little dude on the right, I don't even know he's ambiguous. I don't even know what the hell race he is. But his first thing was to say, oh, they hit you or whatever? Okay. So you know where he was coming from. Automatic racist crap that he came out of his mouth. Again, can't let a positive thing said about a black woman live longer than a nanosecond before you bring up some racist tropes that don't attach. Then you try to say, oh, the white woman's better, yet those are the ones that have killed and harmed black babies for no fucking reason other than the fact that their husband was promiscuous and a rapist. It's a damn shame. And for Charlemagne, that Jasmine, I guess that's her name, some brand, I don't know who that was, that girl that was in the middle. Let me take that out. I don't know who that girl was. I don't watch the show. So let me take that name. I'm sorry to say that name. The black girl in the middle in that podcast with Charlemagne, Andrew Schulz, the black girl in the middle. Those two black people, highly disrespectful. How you a black woman and sit next to that white dude, or Jewish dude, whatever he wants to become himself to be, and hear what he said about a black man, buck breaking. And you just sat there and oh, they talk about you and your wife and your kid. they're talking about, the fans are talking about harming people. Fuck the fans. You're sitting next to the man that literally said he would rape a black man just because he thinks he was talking about him, which he never did. What would he have done if he had came out and literally said, I'm talking about Andrew Schulz? Look what he did when he don't even know it's him, but he's so narcissistic, he made it him. And you're on the show with him, never checking him, black lady. Charlemagne on the show with him, never checking him, black man. And he tried to use you guys as a black proximity. Oh, I'm closer to black people, so they're okay. So Charlemagne, can he say the N-word around you? Young lady, can he say the N-word around you? Because it seems like y'all gave him a free pass to do whatever the hell he wants to do, and therefore your blackness is giving him validation. So did he get like a temporary black card from y'all? Because to me, it's highly bullshit that you sat there and said nothing. And I don't want to hear Charlemagne or this young lady give an apology tomorrow on any fucking show. You knew what the fuck was going on at that minute. The fuck with what you got to say after. I'm getting tired of black people always Sunday or next day checking themselves. You knew what he said then. You felt kind of odd with him saying it then. You did not check him in his presence. Then shut the fuck up once you get off that set. Take what's about to come to you. Just hilarious. No, it wasn't just hilarious. This was the podcast that him. I don't think it was just hilarious. I couldn't see the girl in the middle. It was kind of dark when the video I saw, but it was in them. They had like a podcast, and it's like him. And it could have been. I don't think it was just hilarious though. But anyway, the person in the middle. I don't know who it was, but I'll show if I could find the video. But that's who, the podcast in which my man was trying to explain it away. Charlemagne the God. He was like, well, how do you know it was about you? And he said, well, I just think it was. Well, what's the line? I'm like, Charlemagne, did you do your homework before you got onto this podcast? I mean, why are you asking what is the line? I haven't heard the song. Then why are you on the show talking about it? You just walk up in the middle of something and don't know what you're doing? Since when have you been that less professional? Just to come up in the show and just grab a check or something? So you let this dude talk anyway, sideways, just to collect the check? Because it seemed like you hadn't done your homework. This man highly disrespected black people. And again, jokes are jokes. I'm fine with jokes. But what he said was not a joke. It was just simply racist tropes. I mean, I can say jokes about Jewish people. I can say jokes about the Holocaust, right? And I'll be canceled in a heartbeat. But you talk about black people in a way that comes from actual slavery, the pains of black people, and buck breaking and all that. And it's like, oh, it's just a jokey joke. So I can talk about Jewish people in the way they were harmed, and it can be a jokey joke. I guarantee you, I just said Jewish with a raised voice. Somebody in here Jewish got pissed. Tomorrow, I'll probably hear something from Jewish League talking about you were anti-Semitic just for raising my voice by mentioning the word Jewish and Holocaust. But you say something about black people, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh, it's just a pass. You can say that. You can say that. You can do what you want. Too many black people not knowing their history or knowing their history and not giving a damn about getting any kind of respect for their people. See, the thing is that racist people have created a PR system to continually destroy black people and who they are. That's why whenever another culture comes to this country that doesn't have any experience with black people, their default thoughts of black people are what racist white people think of us. Why do you think that is? Because the PR program they got going on around the world is destroying the black family and unit, the black culture. We're all thugs. We're all, killers. We're all this and the other. When you look at history and you ask a person who comes from this country, I don't care if you come from any Asian country, come from any African country, or whatever country you come from, you come to America. I'm going to tell you right now, wherever you lived at The person who has harmed you the most, the person that destroyed your people, have colonized you, don't have my color skin. But somehow you got issues with my color skin that has never done anything to your people as a whole whatsoever. And you ain't got nothing but love for the ones that have destroyed everything about your culture. That shit I'll never understand. How you have no words to say about the people who have came to your country and destroyed it, colonized it, stole all your resources, killed your moms, wives, cousins, grandmas, raped them, did all that. You ain't got no smoke for them. You got all this love for them. But everybody whom they don't like, you on the team are not liking them. I don't get it. Like that racially ambiguous dude on that show. Got all this love for like whiteness. And your people, they destroy. It kills me trying to get that close proximity to white privilege. You would destroy anything in this way, and that be you and your own culture to get close to that. For what? What do you gain from it? Power? While destroying your culture's entire credibility to make them look like there's something wrong with them, when in reality, the people who are trying to destroy you, those are the ones that have the bad credit. It's insane to me to think that this country is that stupid, that you would literally go toward the people who hate you to somehow feel some kind of validation, like they care about me. Forget my own culture. I want to get close to this culture that would literally eat me. To go back in history, they used to eat people. My people. Ain't that far back that they would hang us and barbecue us. But that's the culture that you want to get close to and say, oh, I want to be just like them. So you want to be just like that. Now, are all of them like that? No. There are pieces of their culture that still exist that want to go back to that. It's insane to me. But that's this country in a nutshell. They're making excuses for the racists that wanted to buck break Kendrick Lamar for standing up for black women. And he gets his proximity to blackness to validate his racism and buck breaking. I haven't heard one black person that has been close to him that has literally said, dude, what you just said was egregious historically. And that's something you need to apologize. That wasn't a joke. Charlemagne didn't bring it up. His sidekick didn't bring it up. The girl in the middle didn't bring it up. I brought it up. Because I know history. And I know exactly what he did. And he did it in succession. Destroy the black woman, then destroy the black man for protecting the black woman. And made it all about him because he felt guilty because he knew he was the one doing egregious shit to black women on purpose and didn't say he was sorry about it. So even if it isn't about him personally, the hit dog hollered because he knows he's in the wrong, but won't admit it because he thinks his white privilege buys him the right to do whatever the fuck he wants to black people. But don't you do the same thing to him and his Jewish culture for their things that happen to them. And the thing that's so sad about it, black people wouldn't even think twice about never doing that. It's like, no, I ain't gonna do that. Why would I talk about somebody else's pain? Like, I would never talk about the Holocaust in a joking way. I would never try and do to them what Hitler did to them. I would never. It's just not something I even try to attempt. I wouldn't even go there at all. This guy does it with impunity. He has no problem. Don't even act like, oh, I can do this. No big deal. Black people ain't gonna do nothing but accept it. So I speak truth to power. I don't know this dude from Adam. I don't know Charlamagne the God from Adam. I met Charlamagne the God one time at his book signing. He was an asshole then. But one time at his book signing, I literally said, I have a plan to help black people get out of poverty. I got an app that will work. And this brother said to me, black people have always been trying to help you, stuff like that. You don't know what you're talking about. Look at this man trying to sell his product. I was like, we were here to talk about black issues. And you literally just said, me trying to help black people. And I said, we have never had a system like what I'm talking about designing for black folk. And this man literally said to me, there's a lot of people who've done it before. I'm like, they really haven't. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm talking about anybody in this room. Just by the way you shop. You ain't got to shop outside your budget. You can pay off your bills. You can get investments. You can make money just shopping regularly. You ain't got to buy nothing extra. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I'm telling you, this man literally shot that down and started listening to somebody else talk some BS about some other crap. And I was like, wow, he just literally asked us to give him questions and things about what we can do for our black people. Black people in the room were shocked, like, how does it work? What are you talking about? Him shot it down. Because why? Because it was his moment. He wasn't thinking about the we. He was thinking about me. I'm going to sell these books. He's trying to upstage me. And I'm like, after it was over, I'm like, dude, I wasn't trying to upstage you. I was just, and then he's like, you want a picture? I'm like, sure. Took a picture with him. But he didn't have he had all smoke for me. And I'm like, I don't know you, cat. Why is it like that? Haven't liked him since. And every time I turn around, this asshole's always showing his ass to black people. I mean, I remember, what was it, Dave Chappelle? The Dave Chappelle show? He'd be the first black person I sell back to the motherfucking white plantation. I was selling back in a heartbeat. I'm like, yo, I would take any positive white person over him any day. Any white positive person over him every day. I trade him in a heartbeat. Because any black person that hears somebody trying to help black people, and instead of listening, would literally try and turn that black person into some kind of negative, process. I'm like, the fuck? You asked about this stuff. It's crazy to me. So I knew him just once. And from that point on, I was like, yo, I ain't got nothing to do with you, man. I ain't even going to try to help anybody on your team. And you'll see, even with me, I got Black Unity period right now. I'm focused on black-centric stuff to help black people. Why? Because we need it. Look at our PR right now. This white man literally thinks because black people don't ever stand up for black women or even the black culture to say, hey, you can't put that type of negative PR on black people. That's not us. I understand our rappers, but our rappers don't make up 99% of black people. They are a very small percentage of us. We are jazz people. We are R&B people. We are all these things. And for you to sit here and talk about, rappers and what they said over the years, okay, I'll give it to you. But that's just not black people. That's our thing that we created. But we've got so many people within that core group that would never say anything negative about black people. And they made it that way. Think about it. Who paid all these black people to come out and say this shit? I don't remember anybody owning record labels but white people and Jewish people. Who paid black people to come out and speak the way they speak? There's no money behind it. You'll never hear about it. There are artists back in the day you can listen to. They would bring in some good positive stuff. The record labels would not take it. You got to give us shit that's degrading. If the market wanted it, the market would get it. No facts. Know your facts. I'm tired of black people destroying black people by saying we're trying to help them. By destroying black people and what they are, you're trying to help them? How about you, if you think that, what you're doing is helping black people, why don't you talk about the black people that are doing great instead of spending your time always talking about black people that are doing egregious acts? What about Isaac Hayes Jr. or the third? Why don't y'all talk about him sometime, about what he's doing for black communities and investing into black businesses and always talking positive? Why don't y'all talk about that brother? Because he ain't going to make you any kind of money because you got to tear down the black community to be important. to get ratings, you got to say something egregious about black people. You can't say something really great about them. As you'll notice, you rarely hear these black people literally saying great things. And the ones who do, you don't see them too often. So that's my 2 cents on this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of this characteristic, like destroying process for black people. And then when we stand up, it's like, oh, you know, you can't say a joke around black people. I'm like, no. Do you hear black people literally making jokes about the Holocaust? Making jokes about how they destroyed the character of your people? Black people don't even make jokes about the stereotype of all Jewish people being, you know, rich. They stay clear of that. And that ain't even something that's just hugely horrific, but they stay away from it because Jewish people say it's detrimental to their culture for people to say stuff like that. So you rarely see, if at all, a black person talking about Jewish people being rich. They got all the money and they do this and they got all the power. You rarely see that because they stay clear of it. If they acted like Andrew Schulz, they would literally say it every chance they got because that's a stereotype that almost everybody can recognize. And many people in this country believe, even if it's not true. So that stereotype would be something that they can play on all the time, but you don't see black comedians ripping on that because they sit around and respect. Now, they got some that I'm pretty sure that has said something in the past, maybe in the 80s, all kind of shit was going crazy in the 80s and 90s early on, but you don't see that now. This man is doing it in 2024 to black people and would have a shit fit if any of us did it to Latin people or to Asian people or to Jewish people. So I'm holding people accountable on my channel for stuff that they say. Even myself, like I said, I'm straight facts, no chaser. You hold me accountable to what I say. And I'm going to be a man every time. And I'm going to say, oh, my bad. I didn't mean it. I didn't think this. I wasn't ready. Whatever it may be, I deserve it. Because if I do say something out of line and it harms somebody and it was meant that way, like I meant to harm that person, I'll apologize for that. How hard is it? I mean, damn, do you have to be right about everything? How hard is it that you get something wrong? And sometimes culturally you may get something wrong. I've had my times in life where I've got things culturally wrong. Had no clue what certain things mean. Like, again, to keep myself honest, because I did something. I like to put myself out there. Years ago, I was, I went out to the club with my homie. We was out chilling, you know what I'm saying, hanging out at this club. After, it wasn't an after party, but it's like everybody, a lot of people left the party. Here's in LA. And when things close, it's like clubs close early here. You think it's party town? No, that's probably New York. But it closed like midnight or 1, somebody get 1:30, whatever. So we went to an all 24-hour like restaurant just to hang out and chill, you know, continue the night, you know, whatever. We're out chilling. I had no understanding of Asian culture whatsoever. None. I had one Asian friend that I worked with, and that was it. Wasn't like my world was filled with a bunch of Asian people at all. But I did like have work friends. But we never talked about life stuff, right? So I'm at the restaurant. This Asian girl comes up, and I don't know what she was as far as like Korean or Japanese. I have no clue. But this was like I was in my late 20s, maybe early 30s, maybe something like that. She came over and tried to hit on me. And I didn't know anything about it. So she's sitting there talking to me, you know, and talking about like, you know, about the Asian culture. She just giving me culture information. I wasn't even asking about anything about culture. She said, you ever date an Asian girl? I'm like, nah, not at all. And then she was like, what do you know about Asian culture? I said, absolutely nothing. No disrespect, but I know nothing. I said, but I do know something that I've seen. And I think I'd seen some clip or something about it, some video about it, how Asian people would get mad at the term Oriental. And I asked her, I said, so I got a question though. What is it with Asian people? And you mentioned the word Oriental. I said, I've seen video clips about that. I have no clue what it means or what it's about. And she said, are you serious right now? And I'm like, yeah, what does it mean? Like, why do they get upset when somebody says that? I don't see it in movies and videos and stuff like that. But like I said, I don't know the culture. What is it about? She did not have time to give me any kind of information about the culture. She went straight to being offended. She went straight to her guy friends over here. It was just me and my homie. And she went over to like 5 or 8 Asian dudes and was like yelling and screaming. And they come over. They want to fight. I'm like, all right, we can go outside. I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm straight. I told my boy, you straight? He said, yeah, I'm straight. Let's go. Let's do this. You know, and it was like 5 of them. My boy like 6'4", you know, I'm 6, you know what I'm saying? We like, well, we gonna have to, you get this one, you get this one type of thing. And I'm like, but what is this about first? Let me know what this is about. Is this because I asked her what does Oriental mean? And he's like, you don't know? I'm like, no, I don't. What is it? What is it? Before we go out here and box, what is it? And he said, well, Oriental means like a product or a thing, like an Oriental rug, not a human being. You wouldn't call a person Oriental. I said, well, I didn't call her Oriental. I said, what is that makes people get upset? What is it about? I told her I knew nothing about the culture at all. And I said, oh, thank you for educating me. Now we can go out and box, because I had no clue. I wouldn't disrespect you like that. I didn't know anything about it. But we can go do this. We can continue. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you feel, let's go. So me and my boy are up, about to go outside, get ready. And then they're like, nah, chill out. Let us get you some drinks, man. Let's get you some drinks. And we sat down and chilled with the Asian people. Like, again, I don't know where they were from, so I'm not going to call them out and just say whatever particular part of Asia they came from. And we had a ball. I apologize for if she felt I said that about her, even though I didn't say it. But that's not going to hurt to apologize, because, again, I got some new party friends for at least that night where we had a lot of fun and, you know, did some crazy stuff, took shots, and had a ball. And learn more about Asian culture that night. If you don't know something, ask, and then learn, and then subtract it from your mentality if it's wrong. There's nothing wrong with learning. And there's nothing wrong with apologizing. Even sometimes, if the person gets offended and you didn't mean it that way, you can still apologize and say, hey, I didn't mean it that way. My bad. I had no clue. And from that point on, I never called an Asian person Oriental, but I didn't know what that meant and why people got offended, and now I do. Well, at least I've known for about 20 years now. But the reality is, that's the difference between what me and Andrew Schulz or me and Charlemagne the God. You learn and you subtract. You don't make excuses. You don't sit there and be like, well, I didn't know like 35 minutes ago, and now I do know, and I'm not going to apologize. It's like, dude, why not make that person feel better? Because they really took it that way. I apologize that you took it that way, that I said it that way. I didn't mean it that way at all. I asked you the question, but I understand maybe you didn't hear it. It's loud in here. Easy, simple, have a great time. They were told, Andrew Schulz was told it was offensive. And instead of learning his lesson, he stand 10 toes down in the racist rhetoric. And then when a black man told him, he borrowed some toes and stood 20 toes down into the racist rhetoric. When it was easy to say, my bad, didn't see it. Talking about slavery as a joke to white American history. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just, to me, it was a bit off, and I think people should have checked it. But they didn't. They allowed it to float. Now, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, next day. But what I want to say is, you guys got to self-edit right on the spot. If you're not equally yoked to the people that are coming onto the show, then sit this one out. Because if that person is like a Andrew Schulz, I wouldn't go on his show unless I was ready to combat racism, sexism, all the isms, because that's what he would do to get ratings. He wants you to watch. Other than that, he's a highly unimportant white guy. If he doesn't say racist, sexist rhetoric, he's working at McDonald's. There are no other jokes for him. There's no other avenue for him. So, and I have no problem talking to him about it. But I know he's not man enough to talk to me because he would not be able to take responsibility. He'll try and make it a joke. And I won't laugh at it. It'd be quite awkward for him, sitting there trying to finagle his way out with a fake-ass joke. Mano y mano, equally yoked. We can talk. But if you want to crack jokes and not know the history, we can do that too. Because I can go in on some Jewish jokes that you ain't going to like. Shit I'll make off the top of the dome because I really don't have none made up at all. But if you want to go mano y mano on some racist shit, let's do it. That's what you want to do. I guarantee you I'm going to beat you on that one. Not because I'm racist, it's just because I'm just that good. I go for the jugular when people go for the jugular. I'm creative like that. But that's not the route I want to go. I want to educate you so you can stop doing the stupid shit and that your black friends should be doing for you, but they're not. I'm going to tell you right now, that ain't your friend that will sit there and allow you to destroy yourself and not educate you and tell you what's going on. See, they too scared to say something because they vested somehow financially in you. You don't make me. I don't need you to make me. I don't need you to be beside me to do nothing. So therefore, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. Your boys over here, they tied to you somehow. Therefore, they ain't going to say what they need to say. But you'll get the smoke from me. And I expect it to come from you. But I'm prepared for it. And I bring this out of love because I really want people to get on the right plane of the way they talk about each other. You got hurt and you went straight racist and then you tried to make it a jokey joke just to get out of it. Not cool. Definitely not cool. So anyway. I call someone of Italian descent, Dago. Yeah, I like I said, I don't know cultures a lot. You know, I'm from Indiana originally. I live in LA. Been out here for a long time. Multiple cultures. Like again, not unless you grew up around a bunch of multiple cultures that you guys were all super cool. How often are you going to meet multiple cultures? Not unless you're going to like clubs or y'all belong to the same church or y'all belong to the same golf club or something like that. You're just not going to meet a lot of people from different cultures that are going to willing to invite you into their home or to their culture to better understand it. You have to go and seek that. And most people are just seeking just to survive. You know what I'm saying? Not to just go to different cultures unless you travel a lot. You know what I'm saying? And that takes a lot of finances for some people. So you're going to find that a lot of people are very ignorant about other people's culture. But when you find out something and you're next to an Italian or Japanese or Korean or whatever, that's the time to be like, yo, I got a question. I've been interested about this, that, and the third. What would be the best thing for me to do here? You know what I'm saying? Invite yourself into it as a person trying to learn, as not as a person who's automatically a pro at something like, yeah, this is what it means, right? Nah. What does this mean? Because I want to learn more about your culture. Not offensive. And if this offends you, like it kills me, like on like what? TikTok and all things like that. You could eat another culture's food and spit it out and be like, and totally everybody's going off on you. But the minute you say something disrespectful by a black person, everybody wants to excuse it away. Like, oh, you know, black culture, we can talk all about that. You can say all you want about black people. But the moment you say something that an Asian person eats, it's a freaking flip out. What? Oh, it's so sick. Oh my God. That one lady, Sujia, will light into your ass. I ain't got nothing against her. I'm just saying. Sujia will light into your ass. Say something about Asian food or something stink and doesn't smell. She own you. But a white man can sit here and talk shit about a black woman like it's no fucking problem. And they talking about fucking food. And he's talking about a human being. You telling me Asian food gets more respect than an African or black woman? What the fuck are you talking about? It's insane to me. There's no excuse for it. And there's nothing. So what's up with a mixed kid? Right. I mean, biracial children. I mean, again, there's no, like, again, like for me, I don't have any ill will toward anybody. My kids are biracial. Right. I have nothing against any particular culture, race, no, nothing. I love all people. But I'm going to tell you, you're not going to disrespect my people and expect me to sit here and not say something about it. You're not going to disrespect my kids and not have me say something about it. Period. We can all get along. We can all respect each other. But it needs to start with a base of respect. He disrespected black women and wouldn't say he was sorry. Black men did. Not all of them. 2 of them did. And then he stood 10 toes down. He went in again. He doubled down. Then he tripled down. It's like he's daring you guys to like cancel him or do whatever or to harm him or whatever he's trying to do. It makes no sense to me. When people tell you this is offensive to the culture, that it's a racist trope and it's not true, and the more you buy into it, it could harm a black woman, and you're playing around like it's a joke, that you got this negative stereotype about a woman that it doesn't attach to just bad black women, because there's bad women in it's bad people. Women, men, bi, trans, whatever. There are bad people out there, no matter what race, no matter what sex. But to throw the stereotype with black women that literally says all women. It doesn't say the bad black women or the disrespectful black women. And when you make it in a little segment, fine. You threw a blanket on all black women. That included Kamala Harris to Michelle Obama to Oprah Winfrey. I mean, it included everybody. And he thought it was just okay to throw that label on all black women. But there ain't no time in his life he's ever said anything about all white people or all Jewish people. I guarantee you. He was comfortable with it. So much so he would continue to double and triple down on it. But anyway, that's enough of that man. I won't be saying nothing else about him unless he's going to speak and be a man and speak to a black man respectfully about black women. Other than that, I got nothing else to say about this cretin that pretends that he gives a shit about human beings. And, I just joke about everybody. We don't care about that. You have never said that way about what you just said about white women. And I just proved to you if you're going to match up a black woman and a white woman in history, a white woman has been the worst. Let me hear you talk about white women beating up black babies and killing them. Let me hear you say that in one of your jokes. No, you ain't going to say that. Are you? Didn't think so. So keep your mouth shut about black women and the stereotypes. You got something to say something about your real life with a black woman, real life experience with a black woman, and not this stereotypical bullshit. That's all I got to say about it. Black women, I love you. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to defend you. My mom's black. My daughter is black, half black. My son, half black. My sister who passed away, black. I would defend them with my life. And there's no way in hell I would let some little dude that looks like he a baby Hitler literally say something about black people without saying something about it. That's my 2 cents on the topic. Much love to y'all. Again, I try to do this every week, but I've been gone for a minute because of after the election, I did a lot of, I did Trump Whisperer, Translating Stupid, and, I'm Straight Facts, No Chaser. So I do a lot of videos on my page about keeping things factual. And a lot of the stuff that's out there right now, until we get this new president and old dude back into office, a lot of it's just hearsay, and I stay with the facts. If I know something that's factual, I'll say something about it. But if it's something that doesn't have any kind of facts in it or no history tied to it, then I don't talk. So you ain't gonna see me until something like that happens. Other people just create content just for money's sake or for, just keep people excited and happy about them. I'm not gonna force content on people just to be making a story up. The things that hit me and the lies that I see, the disrespect I see, yeah, you're going to find your boy talking about it, going live about it. Otherwise, I'll be making videos about it. But just know, when you see me, I'm going to come with facts and I'm come with heat if it's somebody disrespecting not only black women, but any human being. A person that doesn't stand up for themselves, often you'll see me fight. But of late, because of what we just had with this election, I fight for black people. Why? Because you can just see, right in this situation with Andrew Schulz, how many people stood up 10 toes down for black women. They were literally trying to say it's a jokey joke. It's not. There's history tied to what he did. And just because either he doesn't know it or he does know it and he's counting on most people don't know it, does not excuse it. In fact, it should heighten the fact that he should know better than to step into historical BS to try and validate in 2024. So for me, I'm going to always stand up for what's right. But I've been standing up now, mostly as I decided to do coming forward. That's why you see me with Black Unity, period, on, is because I'm focusing on black people, making sure that we are on the same plane, that we understand that there is something about us that other people want to try and destroy, and we can't become strong and become a unit and get rid of this PR like disaster that people have against us when it doesn't apply to all of us. But for some reason, they feel very comfortable to make every ill will about a black person the entire black community's problem. Yet though, you don't hear anybody saying, you know, hey, look at that white on white crime. Or you don't hear anybody saying like, man, white people love to, you know, unalive people. They're like the majority, like 99.9% of mass killers in this country are white men. Why aren't we talking about that in jokes and stuff like that? Why don't we talk about the negative in their community? We don't. The only time you hear something like that is when a racist person says something about black people that's wrong. Then you find black people defending black people. I'm like, you know what? We need to work on our PR, black people. We need to talk about our brilliant black people more often than we talk about the ones doing dirt. We need to come out and talk about black people in a positive light and not always defending black people that have been disrespected. I come out with historical stuff about black people all the time because I want you to see the greatness, the brilliance in us without having to defend something, without having some negative, you know, tort to something. Just bring out that stuff that's brilliant about us. So therefore, you don't see 99.99% of somebody saying something about black, it's got to be negative. It's not about the brilliance in our community. I'm going to ask you, when's the last time you heard anybody speak on the brilliance of being black in this world? Not against anybody else or hating on nobody else. I'm just saying you should talk about a black person in a positive light. How often do you see that? Literally flipping on a video and you say, man, this person is just literally saying, yeah, this black thing, this whatever, positive, positive, positive. No, it's always drama. If you do it, it's always talking negative, or they may do something positive, but they ain't necessarily talking about black people. Like you may see a fashion guy or girl that's black or talking about film and they're doing a positive thing. It doesn't speak of their blackness. They just speak of what they're doing. But when you're talking about blackness, period, in your video, almost always it's a negative something, a negative trope attached to it. It's not about the brilliance, not unless we're talking about history. But I want you to know something, black people. You don't have to go back to 1680 or 1863 or late 1800s to 1921 for Black Wall Street to see black brilliance. Just turn around. Look in a mirror. It's here today. It's not our history. It is what we are living today. But let people tell it. And the best in us is in the past. I'm not one to sit here and say that rap didn't play a part of destroying what people think about black people. But I want you to know they thought about us like that to begin with. This just validated it in many ways and helped them celebrate the worst in us and helped them think that, hey, we gave them money. We took them off the street like they did us a favor. This is why I talk about Black Unity, period, because I'm getting tired of the narrative being when black people do good, it's because they injected some kind of whiteness in their life. In history, Black Wall Street were all black people. The credit went to all black people. The doing the great things that they did for their communities went all black people. Wasn't any white person to sit there and say, oh, it would have been great. Only reason they're doing good is because white person put money in it. Only reason they're doing good because a white person gave them something. Only reason they're doing good because somebody else did something, as opposed to the reason they're doing good because they're just good people. You see the difference? All people can do good. But whenever you see a black person do good, you're looking at their record label and say, oh, see, those white people helped them. Their talent was born in them. The white people are robbing them. They're not helping them. So I want to see black people get their brilliance based off of them being black and doing brilliant things. Not because somebody else gets the credit for turning this black person into the brilliant person they already were, infusing their money or whatever it may, their power into it, and now they're great. No, without you, they still would have been great. That's what I'm doing, putting that positive on us because it's there. It exists. I'm going to leave you one thing. In every culture, there is three, especially I'm going to say white and black culture because it's less in Asian culture. Latin culture is around the same, but this is white and black because it was like the polar opposites. In the black community, in the white community, crime is basically the same in percentage. Less than 4% of white people will ever commit a crime. Less than 4% of them will ever commit a crime. Less than 4% of black people will ever commit a crime. Correct? Go look it up. These stats, I think, come from 2020. So in that situation, 4% of this country equals multiple millions more as white people than it does black. Because there was literally over 200 million or something like that, or whatever it is, or 100, 300, almost 200 million white people or something of that nature. It's over 336 at least. And there are 47 million black. 3% of each of those means just by the sheer percentage, there's going to be less black people committing crime than white. Have you ever heard of white on white crime, even though they commit more crime than anybody else? No, you haven't. There's a reason for that. Their PR system. You hear all the positive things about them. You hear all the negative stuff about us. So it makes it look like there's more negative in the black community when there's not. They dwarf us as far as how many crimes they commit. But the PR has it seem like we're the crime. Why? Because when you turn on the news, they only cover the black community. You rarely ever will see the crime that goes on in the white community. Turn on your news, your local news. You will see like an 8-to-2 ratio, 80 to 20% black and Latin people on the news. But yet, once you do that, I want you to go to the jails in your city. When you walk outside the gate, when they're all out there hanging out and chilling in the yard, if you can see that from your vantage point outside, look at their prison and you'll see white people dwarf the amount of black people in that jail. How did they get in prison if you only see 80 to 90% of them on TV being black and Latin, yet it's filled with white people? It's because they commit more crime. They just don't get covered as much. PR. Their public relations is good. Black people don't have a public relation talking about the black goodness in black people. We literally have programs and TV shows that are focused on showing you the heightened criminality in black folk. So much so that there are more white people committing crimes that you should be afraid of white people. You're more afraid of black people because they show us doing the crimes. PR. Public relations. They have a good publicist. We have none. That's where I come in. All positive things about black people, black unity, period. I'm not saying anything negative about our black people in a sense, except for when you disrespect our people. All kinfolk. Well, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And I don't consider, and this is just my personal opinion, I don't consider Charlemagne the God kinfolk. He's skinfolk, but I don't consider him kinfolk. Anybody who can turn on a dime on his own people and not protect his own people when certain things have happened, and on top of that be accused of raping people, come on. You ain't for the people. I don't care if he was married to a black woman, married to a Latin woman, Asian person. It doesn't matter about who you dating and with. That don't matter to me. When it comes down to when somebody is talking crap about your people If that person really is a bad person, I ain't got no problem with you talking about them. But if you're talking about us as a culture, just black people are like this, oh yeah, and a black person there, and it's like, wait a minute, we ain't a monolith. What are you talking about? You talking about a black criminal, not the black community. They always bring up the black community when they're talking about one black person. They don't do that for their own race. And black people need to stop accepting that in the middle of a conversation. Black people are like this, and they're like, well, yeah, we like this or that. We are. It's kind of true. No, shut up. Don't go and accept that shit. Because again, that's bad PR for us. You literally are letting people paint us with a broad brush, and their shit is very specific. That white person, that Asian person. Oh, black people like this. And if you're black and let that pass, you know what you can do. So anyway, our density issue. Yeah, I mean, again, like I look at it in a sense, like, you know, we don't need to be disrespecting each other's culture for no reason. If there's a joke to be had, I get it. Set up punchline. I have no problem with that. I've had many a white comedian say black jokes or black people, whatever, in a black person joke, whatever. They're talking about a specific thing or like a specific church or a specific way we act in church. That shit's true. I have no problem with that. But when you're saying things that are just like black people are like this, and it's a negative term of some sort, I'm like, what the hell? Not all of us are like that. But if you say I was at a black church and this happened, the black people all did this. We've seen that church and we know what you're talking about. There's a difference. But they're trying to conflate those things as if they're not, as if they are the same. They're not. They're totally different. What Andrew Schulz did was not a joke. Wrong. Stuff that you see Gary Owen talk about being in a black church, acceptable. Totally different. I don't know all his jokes, so don't be trying to get on me about Gary Owen said some racist shit 75 months ago or just yesterday. I didn't see it. I'm just talking about that specific joke. So anyway, a white man since I watched America's Most Wanted in middle school, Nicole. Like I said, there's so many reasons to be afraid. But again, the PR is like, oh, there's no reason to be afraid. I'm like, why not? They've done the most egregious things in this country and all over the world. Why not be afraid? And that's the thing that really, I mean, this is the last thing we'll say. The last thing about that is that's what puts fear in a lot of racist white people. Because if we did an ounce of what they've done to us, they would go on a killing spree. They would do that's why they don't understand how we haven't done that. And that's why I keep telling them, you're not like us, bruh. You're not like us. We are not you in brown skin. None whatsoever. What you would do is not even our fifth choice to do. Most black people, unless you're into the criminality with one of those 3 or 4%, most black people are closer to God in a sense. We got our moms and our dads who grew up whatever, Christian, Baptist, whatever, Catholic, whatever. They are in that mode of, we're going to try and be Jesus-like. Sometimes it makes you sick how much Jesus-like they want to be, but they're more like that. They're more like that than demonic. They're like, we're going to pray it away. You know what I'm saying? God wants us to do right. You know what it says, a good Samaritan, that's what it says. And then they always quote a Bible verse to humble you and say, you know what? He's going to save us from the demons who are doing this to us. That's the route that most black families will go. We don't go the route of thinking about eating people and killing them and raping them and buck breaking, and we don't have that thought process in our head. That's your people's. That's your lineage. That ain't us. Never has been us. That's the problem. They can't understand why we're not the same type of woman and man they are. And it makes them afraid because they think there's something deep inside them that's going to harm us even worse because they doing something in secret or something. What is it? Why aren't they like us? We just aren't. We have fought for equality, not supremacy. In that alone, it lets you know we're answering to a higher power, not black or white power. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to get out of here. It's a joke. Nobody, Cheryl. That dude, obviously. It's insane. But you guys, I got to get up out of here. As always, I appreciate you. Thank you, was it Fa Flipper for the $4.99. I appreciate you. Anybody gave me gifts, I didn't see it earlier. Thank you for that. Thanks for becoming a truth bomber, Byron Davis. I appreciate you, brother. See if we can go back and look, give people love. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, this has been, the Straight Facts No Chaser podcast. I myself am Mr. Straight Facts. I'm that Mr. Straight Facts on YouTube, on TikTok as well. And you guys can come, check out what I do. Go and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. Become a subscriber or actually become a member. And I'll do whatever I can, like I said, to keep bringing the facts to y'all. And again, I'm not going to make content just to be making content. I'm one of those brothers that's literally out here to spread facts. So I ain't going to try and drum up no facts. I ain't going to try and drum up nothing. When the shit hits the fan, I'll be the man that come out here and be like, yo, this is the truth. It's tied to history. This is how it happened and whatever. So I'm going to keep it real with you 100%. And like I said, even when I do fuck ups, you saw what I told you about the Oriental aspect, what went down with me. If you didn't, go back and watch it. It's not as bad as you think, but somebody took it that way. And I made sure that they were not left with that on their heart or spirit when they left me, because that's not the way I handle shit. So anyway, y'all take it easy and be safe. I'll see you when you see you. You have a great weekend. Much love.